So you did the first step where the cube root is to the 1/3. Now we have a lot of stuff inside the cube root, so we put it in brackets to the 1/3. Now the question is, over here on the blue, do you remember what your exponent rules are for when you have multiple things inside and it's getting cubed? Okay? Again, this is where sometimes it's dangerous just to memorize rules. Try to go back to the definition and think, what does an exponent mean? Well, 2x cubed means 2x times 2x times 2x. When you have that written out, does it make sense that the 2 will get cubed and the x will get cubed? Because it'll be 2 times 2 times 2 and x times x times x. The reason it's important not to always go back to the definition to make sure you understand is because sometimes you guys make mistakes and use this rule on the right for something like this. What's the difference between 2x to a power and 2 plus x to a power? Are they exactly the same? One's multiplying inside, one's adding inside. When you go to the definition, this one, you can't just square the 2 and square the x. You'd have to distribute it out, use FOIL to figure that out. Whereas the other one, when it's just multiplying, you can just put the cubed to the 2 and the cubed to the x. Now when we get to fractions, it's very important we have those rules memorized and you're able to use them fluently, so you can say, here I can go, the 1 cubed is going to go to the 2, and the 1 cubed is going to go to the 3. So the 2 is going to go 1 cubed. B cubed will go to the 1/3 as well, and we'll have 2 to the 1/3. And what happens when I multiply those fractions? I just get b to the 1. And so now this is in exponential form because we have exponents instead of radicals. And it's been simplified because the b cubed, when it gets multiplied by the 1/3, just becomes b3 over 3, which is just b to the 1. Should I give you another one like that to try? Or are you super comfortable with those? So here we'll go 4th root of 16 x to the 7 y to the 12. I'll get you to simplify that one. Now the 4th root means that you can put the whole thing to 1/4. And here again, all of your exponent laws from grade 9, they really expect a high fluency in grade 10 pre-calculus, that you know how to use them really, really well. Because once you get into fractions, you can't really go back as much to the definition, so you really have to know your rules well and say, okay, if I have multiple things to a power, this 1/4 will go to the 16. It will go to the x to the 7. So that means that x to the 7 gets multiplied by 1/4. And it will go to the y to the 12. So that means that y to the 12 will get multiplied by 1/4. Simplifying my variables, you would just leave x to the 7 over 4. This one simplifies to y cubed. And if you couldn't simplify 16 to the 1/4, you would leave that. But do you know the 4th root of 16? It's 2. So you also have to be thinking of your numbers and thinking of your perfect squares and perfect cubes and thinking of your numbers and saying, could I simplify that number? Here's a decimal one that fits well with the question that You just asked. 9 to the 2.5. This would be a non-calculator question. Well, so if we first take 2.5 and change it to a fraction, you see that 2.5 is half of 5. So you could write it as a fraction as 5 over 2. Then this is the same as 9 to the 1/2 to the power 5. And 9 to the 1/2 is the same as the square root of 9. And the square root of 9 is 3. Then you just have to multiply 3 5s together. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27, times 3 is 81. 81 times 3, 243. Mental math for 81 times 3, I would probably suggest that you would change 80 to 80 plus 1 and use your algebra skills. What's 3 times 80? 240. What's 3 times 1? And you get 243. All right, one more like this. 32 to the 0.4. Point 4. This is your tenths. So 0.4 is 4 over 10. Of course, that is not reduced yet. So let's reduce that fraction. That reduces to 2/5. Maybe you saw 2/5 right away when changing from decimals to fractions. Now 32 to the 2/5, that means we can break it up to the 1/5 squared. And what is the 5th root of 32? 2. So the answer is 4.